Hi, and welcome back to another Facebook Live. I am so excited for you to be joining me today for a very special episode of Facebook Live where I'm going to be telling you all about my brand new program, the Anti-Diet Plan. And if you've heard me talk about this program at all over the past few months, you'll know I'm super excited about it. It's really a passion project of mine, and I am just can't even believe it that the day is finally here that I get to share it with all of you. I've been working hard on this program for over 7 months. It feels like a really long time, but I've loved doing it, and it's just been really amazing putting everything that I've learned over the past 7 or more years that I've been doing this program in my private practice and putting it all online and figuring out what is the best ways to translate the in-person program to an online program. And I really think that I've come up with something that is going to help you move away from dieting and get back in touch with your body, because truly we all have the wisdom within to guide our eating, and that's really the premise of the program. So I'm going to be getting into telling you more about the program and answering your questions. I was just taking a look to see what kinds of questions are coming in about the program. If you have questions and you're watching live, please feel free to write your questions in the comments, and I will definitely answer them while we're chatting today. And if you have any questions that you think of after the program ends today, after the live program, you can feel free to email me, or if you're watching this on replay, you can feel free to email me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about the program. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Alexis Conason. I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm in private practice here in New York City, and I specialize in helping people who are struggling with overeating and body image issues. That's the primary area of specialization. I also work a lot with people who have undergone weight loss surgery, bariatric surgery, and who are trying to come to terms with all of the changes that that entails. And I think that this program that I've developed is really a way to kind of translate a lot of that expertise that I've gained over the past 10 years or so while I've been working in the field to a program that you can do kind of on your own time, self-paced. It's certainly more affordable than working one-on-one. So I think there's just a tremendous amount of advantages to this program, and it's going to it's really a different approach. If you've never tried a mindful eating approach or a non-weight loss approach, it's a weight-inclusive approach, which means that we really focus on how to be as happy, as healthy, as peaceful and joyful as we can be, whatever our body size is. So a lot of us get caught into thinking that we always have to wait until some magical time that we have lost weight or are in a smaller size or a smaller body to do the things that we want to do in life. And we live our lives on pause. It's really it's kind of heartbreaking to see all of these successful women, mostly women, but I do work with men as well. But I think this is an issue that tends to disproportionately affect women, and we see so many women who are just feeling, stuck and feeling not good enough about themselves, and it really impairs our quality of life. We're not able to go out and do the things that we want to do in life because we're so preoccupied with this idea of feeling like we aren't worthwhile, that we aren't good enough, that we need to lose weight. We become very obsessive about what we're eating, how our body looks, comparing our body to other people. And it's a terrible cycle to be caught in. So, that's what my program, the Anti-Diet Plan, really aims to help people escape. It's premised on mindfulness meditation, which is the idea of being completely aware and present in the current moment. And we use the power of mindfulness meditation, which, by the way, has been proven in research to be effective at helping so many different kinds of issues, everything from depression, anxiety, certainly eating disorders, parenting. There's a whole movement of mindful parenting. It's used to increase productivity at work. They have a mindfulness person on staff actually at Google, and a lot of the big Fortune 500 companies are implementing mindfulness experts and mindfulness training to help their employees, because they actually find that the ways that it changes our brain helps make us more efficient and effective and productive at work. So it's amazing stuff. And I always tell people that mindfulness, it's the mindfulness meditation, whether you're doing a mindfulness program for stress reduction or for overeating or for whatever, or for chronic pain, whatever you're doing the program for, the mindfulness piece is the same. So you're getting the same brain benefits. And many people do notice changes, not just in the area that they're specifically looking for help in. In the case of people come to my program, it's often people come in looking for help with overeating and trying to make peace with their body, and find that the mindfulness skills really apply to all different areas of their life. They might help alleviate some depression, anxiety, chronic pain, certainly help manage stress. So you get all the benefits of the wonderful mindfulness meditation in this program as well. So the program uses the foundation of mindfulness meditation to help us tune in to what I call our body's internal GPS. And that's the inner wisdom that our body holds that really tells us, what to eat, when we've had enough to eat, what we enjoy, what kind of foods work well for our body. And over time, because we're in a culture that has really taught us to mistrust our bodies, and we kind of buy into this idea that we need like an expert or a diet plan or something like this to help us move away, to help us like figure out what to eat and how to feed ourselves. We tune out from the wisdom that our own body is sending us. And this is actually what I think is the best way to guide our eating, because when we can actually listen to our body and work with our body instead of working against our body, and trust me, when you're dieting, you are working against your body. When we can start to work with our body, we can step out of that conflict. And that conflict is what leads to that sense of struggle. Like the sense of working against our body is what always makes us feel like we're, holding on for dear life, just trying to figure out, how to get through, this meal or that meal, and makes us feel like we can't have cookies in the house because we'll, eat the whole box, and that's not okay, or that we don't want to go out for dinner if the restaurant feels like it's not safe, or we feel really out of control with our eating. That all stems from working against our body. That all stems from the idea of being in conflict with our body. And when we're able to get out of that conflict and step away from the struggle, we're able to work with our body in a way that feels really much more peaceful and harmonious and in balance. And it's easy. I mean, it's not easy to get there, but when you are able to work with your body and listen to your body, oh my gosh, like I think it's so much easier than fighting against your body and dieting. It's because it's natural, it's sustainable, it's it's just doing what feels good. So, but it's hard to get there. And that's why I developed the Anti-Diet Plan program, because what I found over my years of working with people individually and also in groups is that there really are some great practical tools and strategies that I think tend to be universal for people who are struggling with overeating and body hatred. And while everybody's struggle is very different, and that's why I work with people individually as well to get into those unique individual factors, there are some commonalities, and there's some tools that I have discovered that I think really help people transform their relationship with food. So I've put together this program as kind of your mindful eating foundation. It will teach you all of the skills and the tools and the meditations to start to tune into your body. And I think that's an amazing, amazing gift that you can give to yourself. I can tell you myself, as a chronic dieter for decades, for most of my life, I went on my first juice cleanse when I was 9 years old. Yes, 9 years old. I went on my first juice cleanse. I remember drinking V8 juice because I think that was the only juice that I could figure out how to get that seemed healthy enough for the diet plan. But 9 years old, like I was exposed to that at 9 years old, and there are statistics that are just heartbreaking about how diet culture has infiltrated children. Half of all 3-year-olds actually worry worry about being too fat. And this is not what children should be worrying about. Children should be playing and having fun and loving their body and knowing that their body is their friend for life, knowing that their body is going to be there to support them and to learn how to nurture and care for their body rather than learning how to work against and hate your body. So I can tell you myself, I got a little sidetracked there, but I can tell you myself as a chronic dieter, I dieted for probably, close to, 2 decades of my life. And it's been, maybe I'm not doing the math right, but it's been about, 10 years since I've been dieting, and I've been practicing kind of the anti-diet plan philosophy. And it is so much easier. And the mental real estate, like the freedom that I have in my brain to be able to do other things with my life is incredibly freeing. It's just an incredible feeling when you are able to stop obsessing about food and stop feeling like there's something wrong with you, to stop feeling not good enough about yourself, and to realize that you're actually completely fine exactly as you are right now, and learn how to care for yourself and be as happy and healthy and peaceful as you can in this current moment. It's just an incredibly freeing experience. So I'm super passionate about helping others get off of the diet roller coaster. I've come from both sides of the spectrum in terms of not only was I a chronic dieter myself for many years, but I started off my career working in weight management and in bariatric surgery, where I was really trained in the mainstream calories in, calories out model. I trained at one of the leading obesity research facilities in the country. It's affiliated with Columbia University. It was a wonderful experience. I learned a ton, and what I really learned is about what doesn't work. If you go to an obesity conference, you will hear a lot of data presented that shows people being able to lose weight for a very short period of time and almost always regaining it over the 5-year period. Yet we keep recommending the same thing over and over again to people, and it really doesn't make sense. And what I started to see in my practice is that these, the people coming in to see me were not people who had never been on a diet before, who said, oh, I don't know what's healthy and what's not healthy. I don't know how to cut calories or whatever. They were people who had nutritional expertise, like they could have had a PhD in nutrition. I mean, they knew everything about nutrition, and they had been on the cycle again and again and again, like I had. And, it doesn't work. And not only does it not work, but it makes us feel more and more out of control with food. It makes us feel more and more just bad about ourselves and preoccupied with food and like a failure. And it's a terrible cycle. So I thankfully in about 2010, I believe, I discovered mindfulness and mindful eating, and I was able to get myself off of the diet roller coaster. And I've been working with clients ever since to try to help get them off the diet roller coaster as well. And what I found over the years as I started doing mindful eating is that a lot of the mindful eating programs actually still are very based in diet culture, where there's an emphasis on listen to your body, but also eat these foods and don't eat these foods. And it's super confusing. Like, I don't understand how that could possibly work because you stay on that same diet train. So I really have put a lot of effort over the process of running groups several times a year for the past 7 years in this area, to integrate things from different types of therapies that I've been trained in, things like dialectical behavioral therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy, compassion-focused interventions, different types of treatments for eating disorders, and I've put that all into this program. So kind of taken the foundation of mindful eating and combined it with these other therapeutic techniques that have been found to be really effective in different kinds of research studies, and presented it all from what I fiercely believe in, which is a weight-inclusive perspective, which is that we should be focusing on improving our health, improving our happiness, improving our sense of value and self-respect and self-compassion, whatever our size is. So that's a little bit about how I came to the anti-diet plan. And the program that that is available now after months and months of working on it is a 6-week program, and you are going to learn about things like why diets don't work. We're going to learn what is mindful eating and how do you start developing a meditation practice. It's for people at all different levels of meditation experience, but especially for people who have never meditated before. And for those of you who have meditated before, or who may even have a regular meditation practice, then you know that it really doesn't matter, because there's such value to coming back to with beginner's mind to the foundation of developing and building a meditation practice, that I think that even the most experienced meditators will benefit from, kind of learning a new foundation. So, but you don't have to have any experience with meditation to do this program. We actually teach you how to develop a meditation practice. And we also get into, how to tune into that internal GPS. So how to recognize your body's signals of hunger, of fullness, of taste, how to make mindful choices around food, how to enjoy your food and actually eat things that you like, and how our body gives us information on what foods work well for our body and what foods don't work well for our body. And then we also talk about when our body's giving us a sign that we've had enough to eat or that we're not hungry and it's hard to stop eating. What's going on in those moments? So we deal with emotional eating and how to best cope with emotional eating, and how to learn new ways to really authentically meet our emotional needs in a deeper way. So because, I think that one of the biggest issues with emotional eating, which by the way is a completely normal part of the eating experience, like everybody eats emotionally at times, but what happens is that when we are using food primarily as our primary means of dealing with our emotions, food can't really meet all of our emotional needs. So that means that our emotional needs are kind of being perpetually unmet. And that's one of, what I think is the biggest issue with emotional eating, is that we're not truly meeting our emotional needs. So there's deprivation going on. So in the anti-diet plan program, we talk about how to more fully and authentically and deeply meet our emotional needs. And then at the end, and this is brand new for the online program, so if there are some of you who have taken my in-person classes, there's actually like a significant amount of new material that's going to this program. And my favorite part is the final week of the program, which is all devoted to how to live a life full of pleasure and self-care, and what self-care really means, and how to have more joy and live in accordance with our values and the things that are meaningful to us. And kind of like when we have this freedom from this emotional, when we have this extra emotional real estate that's now freed up because we're not so obsessed with dieting and food, what are all the things that we can do with our life? We talk about building a sense of community and how to connect with others, how to cope with loneliness. So there's a lot that has gone into the program. So you get the modules, you're gonna have meditations, you're gonna have eating exercises, and I just can't say enough about the program. But I do want to answer the questions that you all have had. I'm just going to look down here at what the questions are. And if anybody here has questions and you're watching live, feel free to just write your questions and I will for sure answer them. So, okay, here are some of the questions that we have gotten about the anti-diet plan. The first question is one that I'm asked really, really commonly, and it is, can I do the anti-diet plan if I still want to lose weight? I addressed this question in context of, can I still do mindful eating? Can I eat mindfully and still want to lose weight, several weeks ago? So if you're interested in this, I would recommend pulling up that Facebook Live. Oh, it was from over the summer. I can try to find it and link to it if anyone's interested. But I go really in depth into this question in that live. It was like a whole live devoted to that topic. But in short, my answer is yes, you can definitely do the anti-diet plan if you want to lose weight. However, the anti-diet plan is not a weight loss program. So I don't want to mislead you and promise you weight loss. And any program, honestly, that is promising you weight loss, I think is also misleading, because you know, weight loss is very unpredictable. And like I said, one of the reasons that I, really got so immersed into mindful eating and a weight inclusive approach is that intentional weight loss really doesn't work. What ends up happening is that we lose, some amount of weight for a short period of time, and then for anyone who's ever been on a diet, you probably know this well, it's very hard to maintain that weight. And there's a ton of research about why that is. If anyone's interested, there's some studies on the Biggest Loser contestants, which is just fascinating research about all the things that our body does to metabolically adapt and try to sustain a higher weight. But it's really hard to fight against your body. And really there are very few programs that lead, none really, that lead to like long-term sustainable weight loss. And the research that looks at people who have discovered this, I think this is really interesting as well. The research that looks at something called the National Weight Control Registry, which is because it's so unusual for people to lose and sustain a significant amount of weight loss long-term, researchers actually want to study people who are able to accomplish this. And what they found is that they looked at their habits and all these things. And there was a recent study that came out last year, and I wrote about it for Psychology Today. I'm happy to, again, send that link if anyone's interested. But that study actually found that the people who were able to lose and sustain significant amounts of weight and keep it off long-term have very similar behaviors to people who are diagnosed with anorexia nervosa. Now, they didn't go as far as saying that these people have anorexia nervosa, and of course you can't diagnose them because this is all from a database. But my hunch is that a lot of people who are sustaining weight loss long-term, again, are feeling very preoccupied with food. They're charting and tracking every morsel of food that they eat. They're exercising, I think on average, like over 2 hours every single day. They are planning out everything that they eat, weighing themselves, multiple times a week. It's very intense. So, anyways, my program is not a weight loss program, but like most people who come to my program, many people come to my program do want to lose weight, and we work through that. But what I believe is that when we are able to start eating in accordance to what our body needs and kind of in harmony with our body, our weight does tend to stabilize at whatever a healthy weight is for you. And I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you what that weight is. It may not be the weight that you want it to be, but it is a weight that allows you to sustain and not go up and down, which also the research shows is really hard on your body. There's increased risk for for cardiac problems and a whole lot of other issues associated with weight cycling, which is what goes, when your weight goes up and down and up and down. So my program doesn't focus on weight, but we do focus on our cultural demand that we lose weight and the norms that the only bodies that are okay are thin bodies. And we talk about weight stigma, and we do get into all of those types of things. So if you want to lose weight, you 100% definitely can do the anti-diet plan, but I can't, I'm not going to say it's a weight loss program. It's definitely not a weight loss program. It's a program that will help you find peace and freedom and harmony in your body and with your eating, and hopefully will allow you to come to a place where you can trust your body that whatever weight it is going to stabilize at is okay. That is that question. Is the anti-diet plan appropriate for me to use if I use nutrition to manage a chronic illness? And again, I would say yes. So the anti-diet plan is all about listening to our body and letting our body be our guide. And if you have a chronic illness that requires a certain kind of nutritional diet to manage that illness, then most likely when you eat the foods that will, cause symptoms in your illness, you don't feel good. So that's the guide, right? So I have a lot of people who take my program who maybe have, just for example, diabetes. And what they find is that, really when they're able to be in tune with their body, they're able to recognize, if I eat, a lot of sugar, I'm going to feel really lousy afterwards. And do I want to feel lousy? It might be okay, at certain times that they make that choice, but at the end of the day, it's really your body being your guide. So the anti-diet plan doesn't mean that you have to eat all kinds of foods, or that you have to eat foods that don't feel good with your body or don't work well for you. It's really about learning how to care for your body in a deep, authentic way. And oftentimes that is with nutrition and eating foods that really, work well for your body. So yes, definitely we work a lot with a lot of people who do my program do have chronic illnesses that they, has a nutritional component, and we certainly can work with that. One of the next things that I want to do is to actually tailor the program a little bit, tweak it for people with diabetes. Although it would be a very similar program, there really wouldn't be that much different. But I think that that's really a need, is more programs from a weight inclusive perspective for people dealing with different kinds of chronic conditions. Somebody else asked, how does mindful eating and health at every size fit into the anti-diet plan? So as I've said before, mindful eating is the foundation of the anti-diet plan. And health at every size really is a foundation of the anti-diet plan as well. I'm a fierce, passionate believer in health at every size, which, for those of you who aren't familiar with the movement, it's really a movement, a social justice movement that acknowledges that we don't have to be smaller to be healthier, and that we don't have to, that health, comes in all different sizes, and, it focuses on body diversity and a weight inclusive approach, kind of really helping people, be as healthy as possible across the weight spectrum. And part of being as healthy as possible is also about reducing, sources of stress, weight stigma, financial injustices and inequalities, different types of discrimination, all of these things. It's really hard to be healthy when you're in a body that's constantly being stigmatized and discriminated against. So if anyone's interested in learning more about health at every size, I would really encourage you to look up the movement. There was a seminal book by Linda Bacon that was written a number of years ago, and she came out with another one recently. Those are great starting points. And I'm hugely influenced by the health at every size movement, and I really fiercely believe in a weight inclusive approach. And that's why, in answer to the first question, the program is not about weight loss. It's about, freedom from dieting. It's about peace with our relationship with food. And it's really about how to live more, happier, joyful, pleasurable lives free from dieting and diet culture. So I would say that mindful eating and the health at every size philosophy are really the underpinnings of the anti-diet plan. And I have taken those foundations and built on them with other things that, as a psychologist, I've learned along the way. Things, like I said, about acceptance and commitment therapy, some techniques from dialectical behavioral therapy, some techniques from cognitive behavioral therapy, and a lot actually from a newer type of therapy that's compassion-focused interventions. So that is it. If anyone else has any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but I'm not seeing any coming up now. If you're watching this on the replay, you can feel free to email me any questions, info@drconison.com. And I'm also happy, if you're interested in doing the anti-diet plan online program. By the way, we have only one more week to sign up for the program. It's going to be starting on Monday, October 22nd, and on that day, the cart is going to close. It's not going to be available for purchase anymore until January. And if you're interested in doing the program, but you're still not sure if the anti-diet plan is right for you, I'm happy to jump on a phone call and talk to you about it and tell you a little more about the program, and also, hear a little bit more about what you're struggling with and see if it seems like it would be a good fit. as I said, we have 1 week left to register. The program starts on Monday, October 22nd. It's a 6-week program. This is the first time that I'm doing it online. I'm super excited about it. For anyone who is going in on with me on the first round of this program, I am really just grateful for your trust in me, for taking this leap of faith on a brand new program that is online. Like I said, it's not a new program for me because I've been doing it in my practice for about 7 years, but it's a new online program. And I wanted to say thank you for taking that leap of faith with me on the first run. And my way of doing that is offering a 40% discount. So I don't anticipate any kinds of technological difficulties, but I'm the first to admit, like, I'm not a tech person, and you're kind of taking that risk with me a little bit by getting in on the first round, but I have a good tech team and web team behind me, so I really don't anticipate any of that. But just as my way of saying thank you for taking, I know it is like a little bit of a riskier move to come in on the first round of something. You're going to be getting 40% off on the program and some really great bonuses as well. So I put the sales page, where you can find out more about the program on the side here. The next program is not going to launch again until January, and the price is going to go up by 40%. So I really hope that you will join me on this adventure of launching the anti-diet plan program online. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me, info@drconison.com. You can also message me here on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram at the anti-diet plan. I'm on Twitter at Conison Psy.D, and here on Facebook. And I would love to connect with you. So I'm here on Facebook Live every Wednesday at noon, and I hope to see you next week. Take care.